Receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
I'm Alex Jones, your host. Thank you so much for joining us. We're broadcasting worldwide on this Monday, the 23rd day of October, 2017, year of our Lord. I say year of our Lord if, we don't have a God above government, even if you're an atheist. You're going to end up then having men like Kim Jong-un above you who will have godlike powers of life and death over you. So those that seek to make the state God so that it can operate as a magic genie to then give you whatever you wish can also take everything away from you and always ends up becoming oppressive, authoritarian, and extremely abusive and psychopathic. So remember that. We're in a beautiful time right now. We are witnessing the death of the Democratic Party. We are witnessing the destruction of the Republican Party leadership. And we're watching them repeat the same lies that they were fever pitch involved in 1 year ago today. Hard to believe that we are just 2 weeks out from November 8th. A little more than 2 weeks out. 15, 16 days. Think about that. The 1 year anniversary of Donald Trump being elected, something mainstream media said could never happen and would never happen. Madam President, Newsweek and others already had hundreds of thousands of copies printed up with fake photos of there she is on election night. Celebrating. They even were coordinating with her on what she'd wear that night so it'd match up. That's how choreographed the fake news is. Beyond teleprompters, beyond scripting, choreographed like a ballet, but with really ugly, horrible, demonic pedophiles as the players upon the stage. Warmongering scum, people that steal billions of dollars of aid money for themselves, monsters. And now you have the Democratic Party as a coastal party, and their members are getting more delusional, more radical, more hateful, more out of control in an attempt to bully us back into submission. They create bigger and bigger fanciful lies about how we're Nazis and we're rapists. But it's Hollywood and the EU, it's turning out, that are rape factories and pedophile factories. They're the ones raping and abusing women. Now the chauffeur of many years of Weinstein's gone public and said the women would beg and he'd rape them. They'd say, please don't hurt me, as he twisted their arms behind their backs and raped them from behind. Everything they accused us of, now it's coming down on them. And as they get more radical, it makes people more and more sick of them. As they throw bigger temper tantrums, the public turns more against them. And so you see the pathetic presidents all huddling together, the former chief puppets, wishing like Pinocchio that they could be a real boy like Donald Trump. Not a perfect boy, but a real boy. Gee, could I be a real boy and not a marionette? Of Stromboli. Ha 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 ha. Yes, you dance to my tune, little wooden boy. You're not your own man. You work for Stromboli now. Ha ha ha. And if you don't, I break you in two. Ha 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 ha. So you sit there, little boy, in your little cage. And when I tell you dance, you dance. You see. But we don't want to dance anymore because we're real boys. We're not your little puppets now. And that's my crime and your crime and Trump's crime and Rand Paul's crime and Vladimir Putin's crime and the new Czech president's crime and the new Italian parliament's crime and the Brazilian movement's crime and the Catalonian crime and all the other crimes. It's always the same crime. We don't want to be your slaves. We don't want to think like you think and say what you say. We're our own people. And you can't beat that, can you? I'm going to play a clip that I played in the last hour of Maxine Waters.
His brain is squirming like a
She has come out and said that, you know, the crowd's got her so fired up that she can go take Trump out tonight. That doesn't mean take him out politically. It doesn't mean take him out in the next election. It doesn't mean defeat the Republicans in the midterms coming up. No, it means kill him. And that's designed to hype somebody else to do it. This old mummy with her rubber face and her rotting brain, she wants somebody else to do it for her. GOP challenger arrests Maxine Waters for take Trump out threat. We're going to talk to Omar Navarro running for Congress against her here in just a moment. He's got a good chance at winning. And you know, when I call her an evil, twisted, rotting-brained, globalist Dumbo, I wonder the media will say I'm saying that because she's black, because Pelosi's got another rotting, evil brain and a big old rubber face as well. Two peas in a pod. But you know, Congresswoman Wilson has demanded an apology from the White House Chief of Staff, General Kelly. Frederica Wilson has. First, she said this weekend he was racist for saying empty barrels make the biggest noises. Well, that's something he said in many speeches. It's a Marine Corps saying about you fire a big blank out of a cannon. It's a lot louder than one that actually fires a projectile. And she is an idiot, getting in the middle of the president calling grieving families, something that Obama didn't do very often, something Bush didn't do very often, and something Kelly told the president you probably shouldn't do because it's rough, it's tough. The calls that really matter are from their friends, calling the families to give them the news that their son or daughter, in some cases, has died. And then the White House spokeswoman came out and said, hey, he's a Gold Star family too. Don't question the way he would talk to another family, because we're not supposed to question the Gold Star families, because the Democrats said that back during the campaign, remember? And they took that out of context and said, oh, it's a dictatorship. You're saying we can't question anybody in the administration. This is all part of their semantical parsing and manipulation. Well, joining us is Omar Navarro, who's also a Fox News contributor. He's a small business owner and has worked with many Fortune 500 companies. He earned his bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He also assisted victims of the crimes in Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. Omar is a coordinator for the Unified Small Business Alliance Outreach Program. In 2012, Omar was advocate against the Redistricting Commission maps for gerrymandering. He serves as a local traffic commissioner in the city of Torrance, California. Twitter at Press GOP, YouTube Omar Navarro, Instagram at Press GOP. And he's done amazing demonstrations out front, several of the mansions of Maxine Waters, who doesn't live in her district and says that, you know, it's wrong if you have any money and, you know, that free market's bad, but she certainly wants to take advantage of it. And now she's clearly talking about violence. Let's play this clip that they're down on YouTube, Facebook, you name it, claiming copyright, you name it. No, we have fair use right as a news organization, it's like Fox or CNN or anybody else, to sit here and show you what she said in context, to analyze it. She's a public figure. Here is the clip.
Wow. What a moving evening this is. I am sitting here listening, watching, absorbing, thinking about Ali, even though I never met him. And with this kind of inspiration, I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Hashtag Hunt Republicans, Scalise, all of it. Day of Rage, November 4th uprising, on and on and on. They're trying to hype this up. They've got Phil Mudd, former deputy director of the CIA, on CNN saying we're getting ready to kill the president in the next few months. You've got just a lot of them really trying to get somebody else to make the move. Well, I'm glad that Omar Navarro's there. We have his Twitter statement, but I'd like him to make his own statement for the news and everybody else right now. So first, let me thank you for coming on with us, sir.
Thank you for having me on.
Right now, you got the floor. Make your statement, you know, not just a Twitter one, in your own words, to Maxine Waters about what you'd like to see.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see, Maxine Waters thinks she's above the law. The Maxine Waters crime family They think that they can do anything they want and they can get away with it. This is the problem we have with career politicians that are in office, especially over 27 years. Maxine Waters is out of touch while she lives high in a $4.3 million mansion, and the rest of the district can't even afford carne asada. They're struggling. They're suffering. They're in the streets. People are just tired of having these politicians and just talk and take no action. I'm going out. I'm taking action. We just launched our campaign headquarters in the city of Torrance. We're taking it straight to her on a grassroots level, and we're mounting a strong national campaign against her.
That's amazing. Again, so far we have your Twitter statement, but just in your own words, go ahead and call for what you're calling for.
Yeah, you know, I'm outraged that Maxine Waters would do this, would actually go on TV and actually call out for an assassination attempt on the President of the United States. I think the Secret Service needs to arrest Maxine Waters. She thinks she's above the law. She's not above the law. She is subject to the law just like everybody else. But like I said earlier, the Maxine Waters crime family think they're above the law.
And you're calling for her to be investigated or arrested?
I'm calling for her to be arrested.
Well, she should. I mean, if you or I talk like this, we'd bare minimum get a Secret Service visit.
Yeah, you know, it's like this. If you go out there and you make an attempt to assassinate the President of the United States, you should be arrested for your words. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not like it's like a free speech where you say, oh, I think the president should go to hell. I think the president this and this, an opinion. But this is an assassination attempt. This is different. She should be arrested for an assassination attempt.
That's right, because she has power. She has millions of followers. And she's saying, I'll take him out tonight. I mean, that is amazing.
Maxine Waters to step down. She needs to step down out of office. She needs to get out of office because no sitting congresswoman should be making an assassination attempt on the President of the United States.
And you're right. I mean, when they've had top Democrats, even on Fox News, say hashtag hunt Republicans and CNN, they know what they're doing. It's like if I got up on air and said, somebody needs to kill such and such, I would be basically involved in terroristic threats. I would be racketeering. I would be contributing to that. I'd be yelling fire in the theater. And if somebody got killed, I would be an accessory.
Look, Alex, we live in a tough time right now where, like I was just recently in the city of Long Beach, where they're in a library, they're teaching young kids, a five-horned demon is teaching young kids. And I go to the city council and I seek my grievances and I file a complaint about it. And what happens is the public library takes down their statement and takes down the tweet, and I basically take a screenshot of it, I share it, and it goes out there. But this is what the left does. The left wants to push a false narrative. They want to indoctrinate our kids. They want to teach demonic teachings. They want to teach our kids that it's okay to be above the law. No one is above the law. We are a nation of laws. We cannot be law.
And I totally agree. And I'm not against gay people or men that want to dress like women. But when all over the country they bring in drag queens dressed scarier than It the Clown, and then there's video of the drag queens saying, you're going to be drag queens, kids. You're going to be this or that. I don't want heterosexuals coming in and telling kids what they're going to be. This is a clear sexualization agenda.
And that's exactly what's happening in our schools today. They're trying to desensitize the kids. They're trying to make them acceptable to a five-horned demon. We don't know what's the objective behind this, but there's something behind this.
Oh, and yeah, it's going on all over the place. Well, it's lesser magic. They believe they can do it openly. Then that opens the gate to the larger operation. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Omar Navarro has come from nowhere and is doing a great job against Maxine Waters. He can beat her, ladies and gentlemen. But the real reason I wanted to get him on today is he's made waves as a leader, thank God, calling for her arrest after she came out and said, I'll take Trump out tonight. Well, take him out means take him out, kill him. This is all part of the Democratic strategy, calling for civil war and violence in this country. Omar Navarro, why do you think she's so arrogant?
Well, she's so arrogant because her family thinks they're above the law. I mean, Maxine Waters is behind some of the biggest corruption charges, including the One United Bank scandal. Her son getting bribery charges and having him dropped from a felony to a misdemeanor. Her daughter being investigated for other elections, for getting $650,000 for mailers. I mean, this is concerning. If we have a representative that's constantly getting investigated, especially her family, there's a serious concern there of her validity as a congresswoman.
What are you calling for?
I'm calling for Maxine Waters' arrest. Maxine Waters thinks she's above the law. She thinks that she can say whatever she wants and she can get away with it. When I woke up in the morning and I saw the article and I saw the video, I was disgusted, simply disgusted that someone would resort to these actions. A sitting congressperson saying that they want to take out the president of the United States. Yeah, so I say Maxine Waters says impeach 45. She says let's get ready for the impeachment. Well, I say let's get ready for Maxine Waters' arrest. Let's get ready for Maxine Waters' arrest. We need to get her out of there. She needs to step down out of Congress. She needs to get out of there. It's time for her to go. She's been there for 27 years, hasn't done anything. She sat down, doing nothing. She has represented the district zero. There are families that are struggling. There are families that are in the street while she sits high living in her mansion in Hancock Park outside the district. I was born in the city of Inglewood. I've been in the city. I live in Torrance. I live in the district. I know what it's about. I am a strong supporter of the people of the 43rd. I'm a strong supporter of the state of California. We need to bring back stability to the state of California. But Maxine Waters is not going to do that. I'm going to bring back the state of California because I'm the only one here in this state that's taking action.
Omar, I know about your story, but it's really neat for folks. You're 28 years old. Why don't you tell the listeners your process of awakening, your political views, and how long you've been involved with the whole liberty movement?
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to tell my grandfather that one day I would like to be the president of the United States. And I used to say that I was 5 years old. And, you know, you don't know the responsibility of what it is to be in politics at a young age like that. My grandfather escaped communism from Cuba and, you know, understood a great deal of government tyranny. And not only did he understand a great deal from the oppression of government, he understood that you have to be involved in government. So he taught me a great deal of being involved in our government. So I said to myself later in life, you know, I wanted to do something. I wanted to take action. So I started paying attention to what was going on. I watched even you when I was 14 years of age. And I watched your show for a very long time. Well, it's been 14 years. I'm 28 years of age. For 14 years, I've been watching your show. I'm really proud to have learned a lot from watching your show, from looking at other perspectives on other opinions. But you definitely woke me up in a big way when I was growing up. And I realized that, you know, sometimes you can't trust the narrative. There is a narrative that is out there. The media slants the truth. And we are a voice of reason. The people are the voice of reason. We have to be the voice of reason in our government. The only way we're going to change anything is if we, the people, take back our government. And that's what we did when we elected Donald J. Trump as president. Now we have Maxine Waters sitting there. She thinks she's above the law. She thinks that she is queen. Queen Maxine thinks she can say whatever she wants. She thinks she can get away with whatever she wants. But I say this, the Secret Service needs to arrest Maxine Waters. I'm calling for her arrest. They need to go after her. Because what happened was wrong. And we need to start taking action. We need to start doing something. She thinks she's above the law. She's not above the law.
In fact, it only emboldens all these people when you've got Democrats on TV saying, let's hunt Republicans, let's kill Republicans. And even Wolf Blitzer having guests on that say, you know, the guy that shot Scalise was basically a hero. They're crazy.
Well, they definitely are. Democrats have held the state of California for ransom for over 30 years. You have serious allegations of corruption charges like the Calderon family. I'll give you an example in the state assembly in the state of California. And you have others who have done many things in this state of corruption regarding corruption. We have to put a stop to this. The only way to do this is if we get up off our butts, we take action. We have to do something, because if we're not doing anything, we're just a part of the problem and not the solution. We want to be part of the solution, but the only way to be part of that solution is for us to take action. And that's what I encourage everybody to do. You know, people can go and help me out and go to my website at omarnavarro.com. They can go on there, look what I'm about. Don't just go off of what anybody says. Read my stuff, look at me, and look at my website. Call me, call my people. Ask questions. That's the best way of doing it. Like every week, I have like a video where I do every Monday at around 7 o'clock. I ask questions to people. I have people call in. I ask them, what is it that you're concerned about? I want people to be in touch with a politician, not out of touch with politicians. I want people to be in touch with them, not out of touch with them.
Well, Omar, you're part of the wave that win, lose, or draw, resistance is victory. But whether it's Australia or whether it's stuff that's happening in South America or things that are happening in Eastern Europe or Western Europe or the U.S. or the U.K. or Iceland, everywhere people are throwing the globalist out, which is really the new colonialism. They're kicking the big mega banks that are tax exempt out of power. They're saying no to arrogant technocracy. How did the globalists ever think they'd have unelected TPP make 90% of U.S. laws as it was set to do? And then they call it criminal that Trump pulled us out of that. That's just an act of basic sovereignty. If Trump would have stayed in it, it would have been an act of treason.
You know, you have people that are in the deep state, and what they want to do is they want to make sure that they're pushing this global agenda down our throats. And what we have to do, we have to do everything possible to make sure that we're holding them accountable, make sure that we are taking action. This is the thing. We have to do something. If we're not doing anything, we're not doing anything at all. So this is the thing. We have to make sure that we are supporting our president. He is the president of the United States. They are resisting him every step of the way. They are calling him racist. They are calling him a bigot. They're saying all these things that he is not. We all know that President Trump is doing more for our country than any other president has ever done. He is doing a great job. He's bringing back hope and opportunity and prosperity back.
And that's why they're so horrified. And how long can the reality be here and then the false reality of the left as they get more and more crazy and more panicked, trying to raise interest rates, trying to kill the economy, trying to block tax cuts for poor people and middle class? I mean, it's just so obvious to anybody who's a thinking person.
And they are doing that because they want to bring down our country. They want to bring down our economy. They want to make sure that they are pushing this agenda down our throats. They are.
And by the way, that's not rhetoric. They really are that nasty. I mean, the Democrats weren't this bad just 10, 15 years ago. They are crazy. Let's do a few more minutes, Omar Navarro, running for Congress against Maxine Waters. She's got a lot of courage. That lady's a serious gangster. The whole Democratic Party running against the Clintons that kill you. I want to ask him where he thinks his political realignment's going as globally people wake up, and how are the dirtbags going to strike back? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Then I'm getting into really big news from Vladimir Putin. Omar Navarro is running for Congress. He's a brave patriot. He's going up against the gangster, the super corrupt Maxine Waters. As he pointed out, all the stuff she's been involved in, her family, anybody else would be in prison. But because political correctness, she's not. And that's a whole other subject that Omar can get into here. But I almost, at a sick level, want to keep her there because she hurts the Democratic Party so much, like Pelosi. The Democrats have tried to get rid of her and Pelosi in leadership, but it's a hierarchical system, so they've been hanging on. But the truth is, justice be done, may the heavens fall. We need to get Omar Navarro and many others in there. But the reason I wanted to hold him over is a lot of people ask me, Alex, why do you keep saying Trump's going to win? And I said, because I can read a poll. And I know the big national pollsters. And I've gone out and I've financed polls before with major polling companies. And if you're not politically correct, most of them won't even let you buy a poll. And then if you tell them that you want them to really hit a straight demographic of people or new phone numbers, they won't do it. So it's a complete farce. They've used polls to control the public for 100 years in this country. And as we see in the WikiLeaks, they're faking polls. John Podesta says in early 2015, as the campaigns are just halfway starting, just as Hillary was firing up her committee, and you can read these, and he says, we need to reach out to all pollsters now and start spending money with them now. And we need to make sure they add at least 9 to 15 points for the Democratic Party because we're the majority party. They claim that's legitimate. So that we get higher samples so that she's way out ahead of the other Democrats from the beginning and then ahead of the Republicans from the beginning. So they rigged it from the beginning. There it is. New Podesta email exposes playbook for rigging polls through oversamples. I mean, he says it. So I had this in the middle of the campaign, and then I could read the methodology on a CNN poll. They were the worst. They would, I mean, some of the phone polls were oversampling 34 points. 34 points? And then they'd say, Hillary's at 67. And you're like, well, of course she's at 67. If you remove the 34-point oversample, Trump's 20 points ahead. And it goes on and on and on and on. And the average poll added was like 12 points. The lowest was 9. Some were 15. Some were 19. Just oversampling phone numbers they know are Democrats. Who has landlines? And you call them, and then you say, who are you going to vote for? And then, of course, there's the other undersampling. Folks are intimidated. Let's say they actually call somebody that's going to go for Trump, that's fed up, awake, whatever. And they go, are you going to vote for Trump? They're like, oh, no, because you don't want to say it over the phone because they're intimidated. You may intimidate people calling them Nazis if they vote for Trump or support Trump in the primary or in the general election, but privately, they're still going to go in and do what they want. So then you've got that whole phenomenon. And I remember them going, Conway thinks they've got an extra 10 points because people are scared to say they support Trump. Absolutely. And by the way, Conway wasn't just saying that. I read the news every day. Google, Facebook, Twitter. Why do you think they were so desperate to go after Trump once he got the nomination? They knew, or even right before, when he was clearly going to get it, or trying to block him getting it. When he'd already won it, they had months till the convention. They were trying to get him to step down, unseat, have the electors say no. Remember all that? From the primaries. And they tried to have the electors say no, seating him as president. A few months later, going into 2016, 2017. And that's because, ladies and gentlemen, Google and Facebook and Twitter, Amazon knows if you're a Prime member what you're going to order 99% of the time before you order it because it's got algorithms and you do patterns you're not even aware of, and they know how they're going to present things to you, and they can have 99% of the time the package already packed a day before you order. That was 3 years ago. Imagine the technology they've got now. So, do you think they knew Trump was going to win? That's why they were saying he couldn't win. That's why they were saying he was 25 points behind and all that bull. Was because they had to create the illusion that no one was going for him because they had all the bots. But here's some of the headlines. I'm going to get Omar's take on this. That's why I held him over. Reliable AI systems predict Trump will win. Remember those headlines? And it was all sorts of computer companies that have major samples. They had video game apps that have millions of members, and they would do occasional polls. They'd say, who are you supporting? And in young people, Trump was ahead 10 points. I mean, there were thousands of data points out there that themselves had millions or billions of data points saying Trump, 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 Trump. It's the same thing, but only the weakest-minded people bought into this. But now they've got Gallup polls where 1 week he's 46, next week he's 35. It's all crap. They jack it up and lower it because at a certain point you're not going to believe that, less than 30% believe in him, even with oversampling of Democrats. So they just jack it up, they run it up, they lower it, because that's all they can do is play with that, when he's really at 60% or higher. Here's another one. Why the polls missed the 2016. Was it shy Trump supporters after all? Yeah. Why the polls are wrong about Trump again. A group of major pollsters just released an autopsy report to explain why the polls were such a disaster. But it's worse than that, folks. The major polling agencies that were Democrat and Republican funded, they decided to lie. In the past, they kind of tattle on each other if the cheating got too big. All caution was thrown to the wind this time. The questions were given to Hillary at all 3 debates weeks before. We could see that watching it, but it came out in WikiLeaks. So that's why they're in so much trouble, is that less and less people buy into their hoaxes. I wanted to get your final take on this, Omar, Navarro, and talk about the dichotomy of people that are aware of the mind control and those that aren't. Because people that are under the spell, they're just getting deeper and deeper into it. That's why they're getting violent, because they really believe they're fighting Hitler. Poor little brain dead victims. Poor little dear things. Those of us that are awake, it's becoming more and more comical. This is crazy. Where do you expect this to go? Because they're trying with you, of course, to have polls where you're 20 points behind, but I've seen the different algorithms and different market research out there shows that you're really ahead of her. And of course, demographics would show that as well.
Yeah, that's completely true. 54% of my district is Hispanic Latinos. We have 20% registration of Republicans in the district. A lot of people in the district, if you actually go around and actually are not using a poll, because as they say, polls are for strippers. At the end of the day, we have to do what we can to go in the district and actually walk. Maxine Waters is living in Hancock Park outside the district in a $4.3 million mansion. I'm in the district. I'm walking around. I'm having events here. I mean, people are just waking up, and people are realizing that they're tired of career politicians running the floor to the ground. I mean, this is the same person that has been ruining the inner cities. She falsely accused the CIA basically of fomenting a crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s and the 90s in the inner city. You know, and of course, you know, at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we are educating people about these things. They need to know what Maxine Waters is about. Maxine Waters is not about the people. She's about herself. She's about her interests and her family. You know, at the end, we have to know who we are electing. Who are we putting into Congress? People know this in the 43rd Congressional District. The black community knows it. The Hispanic community knows it. The white community knows it. Every community knows that Maxine Waters is not for them. She's for herself and her own interest. So we have to look at and analyze these things. We have to look at her background. We have to look at the investigations that she was under, her husband, her daughter, her grandson, even herself. This is
and is it
question.
undoubtedly clear to you that if she ends up winning, it's clearly election fraud? Remember, in the primaries, the party gave Hillary the election the day before you even went to the polls. That's how corrupt California is. I mean, there's no doubt the polls show you're going to win, so it's election fraud if she gets elected.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, we're going to fight for whatever we stand for, and we're going to take action, and we're going to win. We're going to win bigly. We're going to shock everybody. We're going to show everybody that we are for the people in the 40s.
That's right. All right. Well, future Congressman Omar Navarro, and he's winning, period, by running, injecting truth. We salute you, Omar. So what's really going on is a war between people that are aware of what's going on and decide to use their understanding of human systems to suppress the rest of the population. There's a war between those people and the people that are awake and understand how humanity operates, but want to use that information to empower people and to show others how the system actually works, because historically and statistically, that is the most empowering, surest way for our species to flourish and not destroy ourselves. You've got the awake people that are evil, and you've got the awake people that are good, and in between you've got 70, 80% of the population that has no idea what planet they're on. And the globalists would say, just join us and help us get rid of them, and then we can all live together in peace. But the globalists attack each other as well and everybody else. They want generally to tear things down because it lets them manage things better. It's hard to manage empowered, free peoples. And the globalists are OCD. They're control freaks. That's one of their main traits that goes with criminality, is that they're very, very rote. They're very, very systematic. They're very, very constrained. They're very, very robotic. And those of us that are into liberty are not, because we're not robots. We're more human than human, because there are humans and then there are humans. There are people that are conscious and those that are not. There are those that are somewhat conscious but choose the dark side. Now, Vladimir Putin has come out in a very powerful speech that he gave yesterday, warning to the world. And the full speech is linked up on Infowars.com in an article that we've written boiling all this down. It's also on newswars.com. Vladimir Putin warns of future sci-fi superhuman soldiers more destructive than nuclear bombs who feel no fear or pain. Now, before I play this clip and read the closed captioning for radio listeners, before I translate it, it's important to note that he talks about super soldiers last and points out that they don't have any feelings. And he means feelings morally, because they're going to engineer out in that aspect someone that has morals. So you basically have a sociopath or a directable psychopath who then won't have any rights. Because if you add the genetics of animals or plants 1% or less, then you have a chimera that is in a no man's land, figuratively, and the pun also fits, because they're not animal and they're not human. They are a chimera. From mythical Greek mind to reality. And this has been going on for 30 years, chimeras, at the embryonic level and now implanted in bovine and grown up to humanoid size, reportedly for organ harvesting, but you know they've kept them alive. And the media always makes a big joke about this because they don't want to debate about it. But after decades of pushing, now it's finally in mainstream news. If you're a radio listener, I'm putting MIT Review, Associated Press, you name it, on screen. That's why when they attack me on CNN or Fox News, they always take audio of the show and don't show what I'm showing. Because if they show me saying it with MIT and Associated Press and Bloomberg, then it's very credible, you see. But they don't want a big debate about it. They want it now a little bit in publications, but not out there. But the real issue is the super soldier issue is a side area. It is the brainiac. It is people having genetics for high IQs, tripled, quadrupled. There's major associations with that in mental illness. And they may be able genetically to put other buffers in to be able to control it somehow. But the reason we don't walk till we're a year old is because our head has to grow outside the womb. It's already so big. It's like French bulldogs. It's like the Mars attack analogy that the Martians, hypothetically, have these heads 4 times the size of ours. Well, how are you going to walk around with a thing like that? There's some major issues here, obviously. But the point is, they were putting brain chips in soldiers 20 years ago. I knew about it from soldiers that it happened to. Now it's mainstream news. And I'm putting that on screen. Military's building brain chips to treat PTSD. I told you that 15 years ago. They have viruses they inject you with that also eat parts of the brain so that you, quote, never get upset again because those receptors are gone. But those receptors are associated with spiritual experiences as well. Yes, they're associated with rage, euphoria, and with opiates that mimic what's naturally there as endorphins. So much of this is being used to dehumanize us, and all the technologies they've deployed against us so far have been about ravaging the mind and suppressing us, not empowering us. And that's the great lie of the transhumanists who are really eugenicists. You may have some transhumanists that mean well and are only porch transhumanists, but transhumanism was the creation of Julian Huxley, the head of the UN program, to basically camouflage the true technocratic genetic engineering operation being launched through the eugenics boards. So the Eugenics Society became the transhumanist movement in 1947 after the embarrassment of their their test model, Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich. So we have DARPA out today saying we can mind control you with waves, through waves that are put out through your cell phones. They told you that 2 years ago in the Kingsman. Yes, they can activate those and it makes people agitated and violent. Can it make you act like in the movie and uncontrollably kill people? It's been declassified for decades, folks. They've got this. It took them to the cell towers, you name it. And that was in the Baltimore Sun almost 20 years ago. I read it in the Baltimore Sun that, oh, the CIA's testing, calming the public through cell towers. It's in the news today. Scientists can now control how you think. Boy, are we reaching our Atlantean moment where we may destroy ourselves? And Putin is talking about having that discussion. Here is excerpts of what President Putin talked about. This means that a man has the opportunity to get into the genetic code created by either nature or, as religious people would say, by God. What kind of practical consequences may entail? This means that one can already imagine it. One may imagine that a man can create a man. With someone given characteristics not only theoretically, but also practically. He can be a genius mathematician, a brilliant musician, or a soldier. A man who can fight without fear, compassion, regret, or pain. We already have that. As you understand, humanity can enter, and almost likely it will be in the near future, a very difficult and extremely responsible period of existence. And what I have just described might be worse than a nuclear bomb. Sure, that's 100-year-old technology plus. When we do something, whatever we do, I want to reiterate again, we must never forget about the ethical foundations of our work. There's not any discussions about ethics here, baby. They're going to release GMO bugs everywhere that bite you and give you vaccines forcibly, and it's not even a vaccine. It's nanotech. It's all here. Now, before I end this hour, ladies and gentlemen, we are extending only 2 more days, and then it's gone. We've never done it before. Brain Force Plus, our amazing nootropic, naturally boosting your brain in a healthy way. It's amazing. Read the reviews. That's got to end the next 2 days. Anthroplex is a super stamina, libido, and energy booster for myself. It's amazing. Experience it for yourself. That's 50% off. We now have colloidal silver 50% off, our super high quality silver bullet made by the top producer in the country. They supply Whole Foods. And when we sell it for $19, it's $5 cheaper than Whole Foods at $9.95 or 50% off. It is an incredible deal. Winter Sun, high-quality organic vitamin D3 to be taken under the tongue. So important you're not getting sun during the winter. That's why you tend to get sick. The research shows for yourself, your children especially. Winter Sun now available, and it's discounted massively as well. 50% off. We've never done that. InfoWarsLife.com. or 888-253-3139. And we can answer all your questions when you call. There's Winter Sun, 637 reviews, 4.9 on Power Reviews, third-party site. That is the top vitamin D3 in the country, private labeled by us and discounted. 50% off, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. InfoWarsStore.com has all the t-shirts, the books, the films, and the subsection is InfoWarsLife.com. But whatever you do, take advantage of the auto ship on things you need to reorder. That way you can support the broadcast and not forget and get big discounts and get products that make your life better. Sign up for auto ship at InfoWarsLife.com. And there's free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com. I almost forgot to tell you.